ngizwa imithandazo yethu Nkosi sikelela thina usapho lwayo murena buluka sechaba sa Yesu ufelice tentwale matswenye sounds the call to come together and united we shall stand. Let us live and strive for freedom in South Africa, our land.
Please remain standing. I now invite the MTN Uganda CEO, Ms. Sylvia Mlinge, to come and lead us in a word of prayer.
Honorable Ministers, Your Excellencies, the Ambassadors, CEOs and Captains of Industry, delegates, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Uganda. Let us humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Dear Father, we thank you for this day. It is indeed the day that you have made, and we rejoice and are glad in it. We thank you for the opportunity to serve this great nation of Uganda and the roles that each of us play as we all bring our hearts and minds together to bring to fulfillment the destiny of this great nation. We also thank you for our partners from the nation of South Africa who have come here to spend their time, their resources to help us accelerate the destinies of these two great nations. We know we do not find ourselves here by mistake, but by your divine orchestration. And we therefore pray that as we lend our service and our hearts to this summit, may your will be done as you use us to birth and bring to life that which you desire to see for the purposes of your kingdom. For such a time as this, we are gathered, and we therefore pray, Lord, that let the gates of this great nation be opened up to prosperity, innovation, resources, and the spirit of serving one another for the generations to come. It is indeed our time as Africa. It is our time as Uganda. And we pray that, Lord, you will lead us to resolve and unlock the challenges that have plagued us and truly accelerate us by your Spirit as we humble ourselves to do your service, to serve this country, and to serve you, our God. Be with us these 2 days and bless all the works of our hands. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Please do take your seats, and thank you very much, Pastor Sylvia Mlinge.
Good morning. Good morning. We are about 1 degree north of the equator, and one of the characteristics of the equator is that when you get to that 0 point, you neither move south nor north. And there is an old legend that says that if someone greets you near the equator and you don't answer back, you actually get sacked. So, good morning, everybody. Okay, I can see people who would love to stay on earth here. The protocol is big. Honorable ministers, excellencies, ambassadors, captains of industry, a very big contingent of private sector, investors, media, but very importantly, in our African culture, we'd like to welcome all the visitors who have come to this very auspicious conference. I'd like my compatriots in Uganda to give a big hand clap to our visitors from South Africa. It's always good to have our brothers and sisters who are here. A big thank you to the media fraternity, but also very, very importantly to thank the sponsors who have made this possible, most notably MTN. A big hand clap to you. Absa Bank, Sanlam, Stanbic, Nile Breweries, DFCU, MultiChoice, Woolworth, Momo, MTN, and obviously Private Sector Foundation, where I belong. So give the sponsors a big hand clap. So a very welcome to all of you for coming here. We will be introducing you in your different capacities at the very right time. But suffice to say that we have a packed program. We have government and private sector. And in private sector, we speak one language. We speak money. We speak business. We speak deals. So we're here to do business. And we are here to do business with each other. We are here to share ideas. We are here to share experiences. We are here to share technological advances. We are here to meet with government officials. But most importantly, we are here as brothers and sisters. We are here for fraternal relations. And therefore, all of you are welcome. So without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Morrison Rakakamba, the chairman of the Uganda Investment Authority. He's here to set the stage on behalf of government, on behalf of the investment fraternity, to come and give his remarks. And after that, he'll be followed by the chairman of the Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Humphrey Nzei, who will also be speaking to welcome the business people, the investors, and the different private sector players. Pleasure to invite you, Morrison. Thank you. A big hand clap as he comes.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Good morning. Good morning. This is Uganda, South Africa. Good morning. What another historic occasion. The honorable ministers present from the sister countries, Uganda and South Africa, Your Excellency ambassadors present, our visitors, the South African business delegation, once again very welcome. And the Ugandan business community, where are you? Very, very welcome. Government officials, directors from the South African Investment Agency, the chairperson of Uganda's Private Sector Foundation, the chairman of MTN, our premier sponsor, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Uganda Investment Authority, I really want to thank the governments of Uganda and South Africa for putting together this Investment and Trade Summit. It's very much a reciprocal event because I recall when South Africa, February this year, and it hasn't taken so much turnaround for the Ugandan team to organize, mobilize, and make sure that the investment community of South Africa, the business community of South Africa, come to Uganda to continue the discussions of actualizing investment and the progress discussions we started. Ladies and gentlemen, Uganda and South Africa do retain historical relations that started way back from the liberation struggles. And it was very, very heartfelt for me, and I think it reverberated across this room when that anthem, Kosi Sikelele, was sounded to us. It is very, very historical, and I'm very, very happy that those relations are now metastasizing or transforming into investment and business relations. This is not just the start, really. We know that here in Uganda, we already have a relationship in business across a number of sectors. For the telecommunications sector, I think it is self-evident because we are now too much umbrella of the MTN, Momo. Banks, there is already a relationship across the banking sector, insurance, energy, animal husbandry, media. And on a lighter note, I think most of the wines we drink here also serve to deepen our brotherhood and cousinship. I think there is a certain brand called Four Cousins, which is very much known to be coming from South Africa. So apart from being brothers, you are cousins. I want to talk about Uganda's investment climate, which is very attractive, especially because our countries have together worked to negotiate markets that would allow the investment to happen seamlessly. We are 45 million people, and we are members of the East African community, which is 300 million people. And if you look across the entire COMESA region, where we have a membership, we become 700 million people. But we have worked so hard, including working with South Africa, to make sure that we sign and ratify the Continental Africa Free Trade Area, which is a combined market of 1.3 billion people. So what that demonstrates is that everything you invest here, you have access to that market. And recently, we welcomed the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is a 243 billion market, into the East African community. I wanted to talk about some specific opportunities where I do believe South Africans, because of your expertise, experience, and pedigree, can quickly leverage. And one of those areas is minerals. At the onset, I can state that our valuation as Uganda Investment Authority of unexploited minerals still under our soils, the valuation is at 620 billion United States dollars. And once the processing and value addition is done, that value quadruples. And I will give you examples. If you look at the rare earth elements or rare earth minerals, the valuation is at $370 billion. If you look at copper and cobalt, And I know those who are involved in minerals know that the price point for cobalt is growing geometrically. And our valuation is at 3.9 billion United States dollars. And I can tell you that government of Uganda is working on the paperwork. Very soon, we are going, I think, to advertise globally. Kilembe mines, very rich in copper and cobalt. Uganda government is looking for a partner under an arrangement that will be articulated very soon. So for investors in that sector, we need you to keep an eye. Gold, the valuation we have is at $3.4 billion. And all these numbers, return on investment, are articulated, and we have the documents at Uganda Investment Authority we are ready to share with you. If you talk of vermiculite, 11.5 billion United States dollars. And for iron and steel processing, valuation for the iron ore we have is at $15.6 billion. If you go to Muko, this is in western Uganda, Muko in Kigezi, we have huge deposits. And you can talk, I think, to Mr. Nzei of Private Sector Foundation, he comes from there. I also know that Chairman Mbire comes from there. They know the exact spot in Muko where these iron ore deposits are. And our iron ore deposits, in terms of quality, are the second best in the world, only second to Peru. So, it's a huge opportunity for us, among other minerals. I know that the MTN is very much interested in agriculture, agro-processing, and value addition in agriculture sector. And I suspect that is why the Honorable Minister, Honorable Bright-Roy Mamawa, arrived early, is from that sector. And we want to thank you for supporting the agricultural value chains. But I will mention a few specifics before I come to my conclusion. That agricultural value addition in Uganda is one of the most profitable investment and business where you can invest. And our studies at Uganda Investment Authority show that the average earnings before interest and tax are one of the highest in Africa, between 33 to 35%. If you look at value addition and processing opportunity for some specific products, let's say for coffee. In Uganda, the processing and value addition opportunity for coffee per annum, you are looking at 1.3 million metric tons, is at 1.8 billion United States dollars. That's an opportunity. Coffee alone. If you look at cocoa, the processing opportunity for 1.2 metric tons, 1.2 million metric tons, is at 2.4 billion United States dollars. If you go for fish farming and fish feed industry, the opportunity is at $112 million per annum. Even some things like soybean, where we know South Africa produces a lot, but we are also ratcheting it up. We produce around 460 million metric tons, and the value addition and processing opportunity is at 290 million United States dollars. Milk. We recently got a huge market to export our milk to markets like Algeria. West Africa is still importing milk from Europe. But we have an opportunity here which is valued at over 6.1 billion United States dollars. So it's another huge opportunity. But Uganda Investment Authority and Ministry of Agriculture, as we deep dive in the afternoon through the sessions, will be able to provide more deep dive and granular details. But broadly, I want to repeat the incentives, such that the investors can know about them. If you invest in Uganda, especially in the agricultural sector, where you are using 80% of our raw materials, employing 70% of Ugandans, where we actually also look at the payroll, the money is going to Ugandans, then you are eligible for a 10-year tax holiday. And South African investors, once you invest here, you can own your business 100% and repatriate all the money you make in terms of profits as long as you have paid our taxes. So we are not going to force you into, we encourage the private, we encourage the PPPs, we encourage the joint ventures, but if you want to own your business 100%, as long as you pay our taxes, we have no problem with you. You come and invest. We give a 10-year tax holiday on income derived for renting out facilities in our industrial parks. We give import duty exemptions on plant and machinery. We also give free land in our industrial parks if you want to set up a factory, if you want to set up any manufacturing facility. Free land. And recently, Uganda Investment Authority secured over 12 square miles of land dedicated, and it is going to be serviced land dedicated for industrial parks. We have 100% allowable expenditure on training, meaning if you train Ugandans and you are keeping your records very well, when you are submitting your tax returns to the taxman, I've seen Kagumire commissioner from URA here. Once you're submitting, that's deductible. That money is returned to you. Because we are also moving into a knowledge economy, we allow 100% expenditure on research and development. If you spend on research and development, and you show Uganda, you show the Revenue Authority that you spent money on research and development, that's deductible. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, is that Uganda is fully peaceful and secure border to border, and thanks to the leadership of President Yoweri Museveni for making that happen. Uganda Investment Authority offers coordinated institutional support for 16 government agencies at its one-stop center, where you go and you register your business, you get your license in 2 hours. You just go on our website, 2 hours, you already have an investment license. And while doing all of that, we are guided by the triple bottom line. We focus on people, but we care about profit. But most importantly, we care about the planet. That's why we pursue sustainable development and green economy. Thank you very much, and have good deliberations.
A big hand clap to the chairman of the Uganda Investment Authority. While he was speaking, he mentioned gold. I felt like changing professions and going into the mining sector, because obviously the returns are big. Thank you very much for those remarks from a government agency that's responsible for facilitating investment. Now, for the investment to be successful, you must have a private sector to create that enabler, to facilitate that process. I would like to invite in a special way the chairman of the Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Humphrey Nzei. He heads a consortium of 12 sectors: manufacturing, agriculture, trade, tourism, financial services, construction, health and education, and is here with the full team of the board. I would like to ask them to stand as chairman makes his way, just for recognition. Yeah, please clap for them. Mr. Chairman, it's your turn to speak about the private sector. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. And thank you very much to all our guests here today. Our honorable ministers, our excellencies, the ambassadors, our government officials, permanent secretaries and heads of government agencies, our chairman, Board of Directors, MTN, who is our host today, our board members of Private Sector Foundation, our sponsors, captains of industry, and all our delegates. I would like to extend a cordial welcome to each of you to this beautiful nation of Uganda, which is often celebrated as the Pearl of Africa. We convene here for the South Africa-Uganda Business Summit, where we aspire to cultivate and strengthen our prosperous business bonds we initiated on our visit to South Africa in March. Today we stand at the threshold of forging new frontiers in business and investment cooperation between us and between the vibrant communities of Uganda and South Africa. In February of this year, we were graciously hosted in South Africa for the Uganda-South Africa Business Summit, which was a resounding success, I must say. As our two presidents mentioned at that time, Uganda and South Africa have a long history of collaboration. Firstly, on the political front, with our Pan-African outlook and our collaborative fight for the freedom of all our peoples from colonial and the apartheid regimes. And now, secondly, to the economic partnerships that we have forged between our two nations. Uganda already boasts a large number of South African companies, ranging from MTN to ABSA. Two of our top 5 banks in Uganda, Stanbic and ABSA, are South African banks. Eskom, to name a few, and many, many more. I'm happy to report that we have over 70 South African companies registered in Uganda who collectively have invested over $2.4 billion in this economy. They also report that they are happy with their investments and are reaping large rewards in the form of dividends. I don't know, Chairman Mbire, I think you can confirm this. The purpose of our meeting here in Uganda is to further strengthen those ties and to bring a greater synergy between our two nations. The recent pandemic and the current state of world affairs has shone a light on the need for African nations to increase trade and reliance on one another, rather than on our traditional trading partners. We must take advantage of the Africa Free Trade Area agreements to open up a common market for each other's goods and services. On behalf of Uganda's thriving private sector and personally, I extend my profound gratitude to our cherished partners. We acknowledge the unwavering dedication of both the governments of Uganda and South Africa, along with the invaluable support rendered by Uganda's High Commission in South Africa and South Africa's High Commission here in Uganda. We also extend our heartfelt thanks to MTN and our other partners whose relentless commitment has paved the way for the resounding success of these summits. Allow me to offer some insights into the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda. PSFU stands as the apex body representing Uganda's private sector landscape. We comprise of a dynamic consortium of 320 business associations, which in turn represent over 3 million business enterprises. Our membership spans over 12 pivotal sectors in the Ugandan economy, including manufacturing, agriculture and agribusiness, oil, gas and mineral development, energy, trade and commerce, logistics and transport, construction and real estate, human resources and skills development, culture and the creative arts. Since its inception in 1995, PSFU has played an instrumental role in advocating for private sector's interests while fostering capacity building. We serve as a vital conduit for constructive dialogue with the government, acting as its implementing partner for initiatives aimed at propelling the private sector into a dynamic role as the engine for economic growth of Uganda. PSFU's overarching mission revolves around enhancing private sector investment and productivity, driven by the creation of an enabling business environment characterized by effective governance, efficient markets, and robust human development. We commend the government of Uganda for its unwavering commitment to nurturing such an environment, attracting both local and foreign direct investment that has thrived within this business climate. PSFU has also evolved beyond its traditional role, now standing as a multifaceted private sector think tank and innovation hub. This transformation is closely aligned with the aspirations of the government of Uganda and the United Nations UNDP. PSFU's ethos is firmly rooted in the 12 sectors that are pivotal in propelling Uganda's economic growth. As an organization, we have 4 key areas of focus. Number 1 is engaging in research and evidence-based advocacy on behalf of the private sector to enhance the business environment in Uganda. Secondly, spearheading capacity building and business development initiatives to fortify the private sector. We currently have over $320 million under management for such initiatives. Number 3, creating jobs specifically for women and the youth of this nation through our projects and initiatives. And fourthly, the capacity building of our membership organizations. The significance of this summit. This momentous business forum seeks to fortify and consolidate the enduring economic ties that bind Uganda and South Africa. Our primary goal is to strengthen existing alliances, foster fresh collaborations, and forge joint ventures that will enrich the trade and investment landscapes in both Uganda and South Africa. At the heart of this summit lies the imperative task of addressing obstacles impeding the free flow of people and goods, an issue that has direct repercussions on trade and investment. During our visit to South Africa earlier this year, we articulated the desire as the private sector to see our governments resolve the visa barriers. We received assurances from both governments, and we are optimistic that this summit will provide the impetus to propel these critical initiatives forward. I'm already happy to report that our entrepreneurs are having discussions already as we speak in areas ranging from agriculture to trade to tourism to ICT, among others. And it is our hope that at this summit we shall transform these interactions into solid contracts. Why Uganda? The total value of Uganda's exports to South Africa currently stands at $20.7 million, while South Africa's exports to Uganda stand at $187 million. We firmly believe that there exists the potential to grow this significantly in the next decade. Uganda's key imports from South Africa encompass electronic and electrical equipment, motor vehicles, machinery, all valued at around $46 million. Whilst Uganda, in contrast, our principal exports to South Africa are medicines at $13.1 million, coffee at $2.8 million, and raw tobacco at $1.2 million. With Uganda's current coffee production, there is substantial opportunity to increase our exports to South Africa more than tenfold. Currently, South Africa is buying coffee from the same European markets that Uganda exports to, which makes no sense. We are far better off dealing directly with each other and doing away with these middlemen. Uganda's foreign direct investment is nothing short of significant. In 2022, FDIs witnessed a remarkable surge to $474 million, predominantly channeled towards coffee and the mining sectors, which is a rebound from the downturn during the pandemic. Our biggest opportunities in Uganda, as my colleague said there, is mineral development. We currently have about 600 $120 billion potential in our mineral sector. And we know what South Africa has done in their mineral sector. So we look to you to look at Uganda as a prime investment destination. Uganda also has 6.9 million hectares of very fertile arable land. So farming and agriculture is another area where we look to see investment. Uganda is also a substantial exporter of fish. We currently export about $150 million of fish. So there's huge potential for fish farming within Lake Victoria. You can see it out there. There's huge potential for fish farming to increase those exports many, many fold. And as was mentioned earlier on, Uganda is one of the leading exporters of milk in this region. We currently have an annual production that exceeds 2.8 billion liters of milk. And what we're looking for is investment in value addition in the milk value chain, processing into yogurts, into powdered milk, into cheese and other products. However, we do have bottlenecks. To facilitate effective trade and ensure free movement of people and goods, it is imperative that our standards bureaus harmonize standards between our two countries. This discussion began earlier this year on the sidelines of the South Africa-Uganda Business Summit, and we are optimistic that further strides in this direction will be taken during this summit. Ladies and gentlemen, the potential of Africa, particularly Uganda and South Africa, is boundless. However, our pursuit must not be one of competition, but rather one of collaboration, partnerships, and joint ventures that will enable us to unlock these opportunities for our rapidly growing youth and strengthen our economies. Uganda and its people in particular are open for business. In 2021, Uganda was voted the happiest people in the East African community. And I think we rank 83rd globally. So your journey here will not only be financially rewarding, but you will also immerse yourself in the warmth and hospitality that defines our beautiful nation. I welcome you all to the Pearl of Africa. Thank you very much.
Surely we can give him another round of applause. Thank you very much, Chairman, Private Sector Foundation Uganda. Just before I invite our next speaker, you will see quite a bit of activity behind me. That's allowed. I just wanted to run you through a couple of things. One is that we have an exhibition area just behind the tent. We have 30 exhibitors there, and it would be unfair if you're here with us and you don't find time to make your way to the exhibition area where both Ugandan and South African companies are exhibiting, but also the Ugandan agencies you need to be able to inform you on the right decisions you want to make, whether it's investing or being able to find the right partners for your imports or export, either way. The lounge just by the poolside where we will have coffee is also an area where you will have meetings, especially the B2B meetings. They will be all the agencies that you need in the same room. So when you walk there, when we have coffee, we're expecting a lot of you would want to meet some of the agencies that are represented here, Ugandan agencies, South African agencies, but also an area where South African investors who are looking to invest or who are looking to partner with our exporters can meet each other within the lounge. And that's an area we have designated, and we thank our partners for that. I also thought it would be important for us to recognize our key stakeholders. Please put your hands together for the following institutions. And I want us to start with our anchor partner, the anchor partner for this Uganda-South Africa Trade and Investment Summit, MTN. MTN Group. Can we give them a round of applause? Just so that, Sylvia can give me more money after this. So MTN invested about 5 million rand into this summit. And I'm saying that so the South Africans know how big this is, right? For the Ugandans, that's 1.5 billion shillings. That's how big this investment is for MTN. And I really want to thank the MTN Group. Thank you, sir, for supporting this summit. And I remember your land in South Africa. This year, she promised they would support the Ugandan summit, and I'm glad MTN came through. We want to thank you. I want to also recognize our other partners. Our platinum sponsor, ABSA. Can we give them a round of applause? We also had in that category Sanlam, Stanbic, and Nile Breweries. Please give them a round of applause. And again, a very special thank you to the Private Sector Foundation Uganda. They're not only here to tell us what to do, but they put in some money, and we want to thank you. A big round of applause for the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, our other key partners, DFCU Bank, MultiChoice, Woolworth, MTN Momo, and of course, all the key stakeholders that are in this room that represent the agencies that are here. I know for the South African team, there are specific agencies you'd like to see. And for those who are not in the lounge and maybe here, allow me just recognize these key partners, and you will need to know them because they are critical for your investment and business decisions you're making while you're here. The Uganda Investment Authority is here. Can all the team from the Uganda Investment Authority stand? If you're here, Uganda Investment Authority, we have a team at the back, we have a team at the front led by the chairman. Thank you, Morrison Rakakamba. We have a team from Uganda Revenue Authority, the taxman. A lot of you don't like them, but they're here. And they're represented. I see Abo and his team there. Thank you so much. The South Africans, you want the taxman, he's behind there. And there's also a tax lady. I would suggest the tax lady. The taxman is usually a bit difficult. We also have our key stakeholder, the Presidential Advisory Council on Exports and Industrial Development, PASID. PASID, I know a couple of representatives are here. People from PASID, are you here? Or you're already much making? All right, PASID is at the back. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And all of you, our key institutions that are represented here. I also need to mention that we are broadcasting the summit live on the national broadcaster, Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. So if you say, camera, please smile. Somebody is watching in South Africa and in Uganda and on the internet. And if you want a link for that, it will also be provided. We will have the program shared with you. And again, I said, if you scan the QR code on the screens in front of you, you'll get the full program guide for the 2-day summit. In case you don't have one on email, just scan the QR code on the screens in front of you. And finally, tomorrow, ahead of the closing ceremony with the head of state, you need to have a PCR test, COVID PCR test. And if you haven't, we are conducting COVID tests at the moment in Sapphire Hall. Sapphire, if you want spelling, it's S-A-P-H-I-R. You get it, right? Sapphire Hall. I just had to do it because someone may go looking for C. It's an S. All right? So it's just next to the ballroom. Please find the ballroom. You will find Sapphire Hall. That's where the COVID tests are being taken. All right. I now take the pleasure of inviting the CEO, Stanbic Uganda Holdings, Andrew Mashande, to come and make remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a round of applause.
Honorable ministers here present, Your Excellencies, the ambassadors, captains of industry, the chairman of MTN, investors, friends, partners, ladies and gentlemen. Stanbic Uganda Holdings Limited is home to Stanbic Bank Uganda, Stanbic Properties, Stanbic Business Incubator, SBG Securities, and our fintech Fly Hub. We are members of the Standard Bank Group, the largest commercial banking group in Africa by assets and by brand equity. Firstly, I would like to congratulate the team, mainly led by MTN, who worked tirelessly behind the scenes. All I had was just a glimpse of the work that went into what we have today. I will celebrate you, appreciate you, and express my gratitude in public, but I'll also do that privately as well. Congratulations. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, African trade is not new. As early as 425 BC, our Greek historian and geographer, Herodotus, wrote about African trade across the Sahara, trading in rock paintings that were moving, traversing the length and breadth of our continent. And this dates back as far as 10,000 BC. And here we are, 2023, sitting here in Uganda, talking about Uganda, South Africa, Trade and Investment Summit. We have come a long way, and we have a long way to go. And over the next 2 days, of course, we will find new milestones, new territories that we need to conquer together. Our own journey as a Standard Bank Group started 161 years ago in what was a very small town called Port Elizabeth, and today is known as Gqeberha, and the High Commissioner will correct me later. And our journey started off in a tent with our first clients. We followed our clients up the north to the north of South Africa as we headed towards the gold rush via the diamond finds in Kimberley. And as early as 1893, we set up our first branch out of South Africa in a town that was called Salisbury, today called Harare, and that's where I was born. And we continue to follow our clients across the African continent, and that pioneering spirit is what led us to be here today in Uganda. That belief and that pioneering spirit, that we believe that our purpose is Africa is our home and we drive her growth. We really believe in the African dream, and we will continue to partner with our clients, we'll continue to partner with governments, private sector, in making sure that we support the sectors that are driving GDP growth across Africa. And Uganda is no exception to that. We really believe that we can drive growth in Uganda by supporting the sectors that are pushing the right buttons in the economy. So as we look ahead, we look at what we've done here in Uganda. We look at the work that we've done across the different sectors and the work that we've done with our different partners. We really believe that we've partnered for progress, and we really believe that as a Standard Bank Group, we shall continue to stand in contribution to the growth of this country, and we shall continue to support investors that are coming into Uganda and investing in the sectors that are going to drive growth in this economy. Because indeed, we believe that Uganda is our home. We drive her growth, and we are here to make progress real together. We believe in Uganda. Thank you.